Okay, we're back in session. Dr. Woodard?
Mayor and Council would like to give you an update on the Northeast Creek Regional Park improvements that are in your capital improvement program for this year. Pleased to ask Susan Baptist, Recreation Director, to give you this update. It will also include information regarding your current splash pad. Susan?
Thank you, Dr. Woodruff, Mayor and Council. I will try and get through this. I realize you are very busy, so we will move right along. Okay, so I'm here tonight to give you a quick update on where we're at. As you know, you've allocated for us to make some fantastic improvements at Northeast Creek Park, and so our first phase and our first movement is going to be on the playground side. But before we get there, we're going to talk about the splash pad at Northeast Creek, and I wanted to give you a quick update. As you all know, we opened our first splash pad at Jack Emiat last year. It's been extremely successful. It has had a good second year summer. We're going to close out in a few weeks, but we've had a great summer. Everything has been really smooth, and we still average about 60 kids per day. I will say we noticed a little bit of a decrease in attendance when Clyde Irwin went back to school because they moved to the year-round schedule. But all in all, we do have some great feedback still, and we're really excited to be able to add to the list of our splash pads.
When is it you plan on closing it for the season?
You know, honestly, I think typically we would have closed after Labor Day, but we discussed it today. Actually, I think we're going to keep it open through the end of September. There's no reason not to. It's there, and what we've noticed is that moms and their young kids enjoy it in the morning. So we'll lose those elementary school kids, but we can certainly keep it open. We can't keep it open after September, but we can until the end of September.
Sounds like a good idea.
Thanks. So we did open it last year. The cost was $225, and again, a daily average use of about 60. So a couple of things we've learned without now having been a full year in moving forward with our planning for the Northeast Creek splash pad is we really realized that we want a larger play area. That includes not necessarily the wet space, but all encompassing on the playground play space. So a larger play area for kids to run and play with those apparatuses. We also want a larger area on the outskirt, what they consider the dry area. So we have the wet area and the dry. So we've taken that into account. Additional seating, in case you haven't been there, you know that everybody brings their chairs and make does with the lawn area and towels and on and on and on. So we do realize that. The other thing we have noted is from engineering standpoint, we want to be able to do a single source on the software, the equipment, the apparatuses, so that we have one person that we can contact. We've realized that there's a little bit of a mishap when you have different companies into different parts of the current splash pad. It hasn't been a major issue, but we have had to do a little bit of, connecting the dots when it comes to troubleshooting. So that's something else we've taken into account. So moving forward into Northeast Creek, we have several phases. First phase is going to include renovating the existing shelter. You can see there the green popped up. That's the one in the far end of that side of the park. We also have the splash pad. That's where the new one is going to be. New restrooms that will go and accommodate both future use of the park, but also the splash pad. And then it's going to require quite a bit of parking lot and site improvements with just the grading in general. So this is phase one, and we're very excited. We are moving right along. Engineering is doing a great job with getting this planned and designed. We hope to go out for advertisement on October 1st, which is why tonight I will ask for some of your feedback on the design on that for the first phase for the splash pad. We really can't do anything until we get that splash pad in place, and then we work around that. So we're hoping to award that, towards the end of November. Construction to begin in January. And ideally, this time next year, I'll be giving you an update on 2 splash pads. So we would love to be able to have it open by the end of, spring and ready for summer. So phase 2 includes a little bit more. We've discussed the need for a large shelter on the other side of the playground. Smaller shelters throughout the park. It's a beautiful park, and these are more of your passive shelters that would just be in a nice setting. Obviously, the playground needs an overhaul completely, so we're looking at a nice, large new playground. And then the Ninja Course, which is a new element altogether. We're excited about adding a whole other component at Northeast Creek. And this would be something is allocated to fiscal 18-19. We're ready to go as soon as we can. So you can see there, we'd ideally advertise in June, and we can award us after July 1, and then construction begin this time next year, and completion ideally would be, before Christmas of 18. So it's a good schedule, so hopefully we'll keep to it, and we'll keep on our deadlines, and everything will go smooth, so we'll keep you posted. Phase 3 is just a nice walking trail around the entire park. It's got some beautiful scenery. It's taking advantage of the trees that are out there and weaving in and out, and basically that's what that one is. So we'll get that one done when everything else is done. So moving into the splash pad discussion, we have narrowed it down to 2 designs for you tonight. I want to let you know that they're basically, for lack of a better term, they're basically the same design except in a different shape. Same price, same square footage. The number of features is more than what we have at Jack Amyette. What we wanted to do was make it more amenities, more features. We have 9 above, and when I say above, those are the ones that actually have something attached, and then 9 at the ground level, which are, the spray features that come out. Everything is interchangeable amongst the plaid, and then as well as, because we're using the same vendor, the Vortex company, it's also interchangeable with Jack Amyette. So we have some nice opportunity moving into the future about, switching some things up and making things a little bit different for our patrons and enjoy of that. So option 1, as you can see here, it has some new features. It has these tulips on the right-hand side. It has the archovers. What I will say is that wall you see around it is not included in the price. That's something that we obviously have the expertise in-house. That's something that Michael and his fantastic crew over there are going to put in after the fact. So that number you saw didn't include that, but that number is for everything else you see. So for lack of a better term, I'm going to call this like an amoeba sort of shape, but it does have more features. It's a little bit more condensed, and we didn't focus so much on zone areas and children for certain ages. We realized that kids are playing through this thing no matter how old they are, where those features are, and they're just going to run through it and have a great time regardless of the process or thought process behind it. So option 1, that's another view of it. You can see there's some new things here, some more water coming from a higher distance. This little guy, we call a mushroom, is really popular right now at Jack Amyette, so we kept that. So we realized that kids like to run through the stuff, so you can see the hoops there and then some more loops. Same kind of concept there. So that's option A, or option 1, just kind of a shape. Option 2 is basically the same, again, square footage. Same apparatuses, for lack of a better term, same number of apparatuses, but what we wanted to do there was give it an opportunity to maybe have the kids more running surface. So this is for, we'll call it a kidney bean shape, and it is 10 feet longer, although it's the same square footage. It's just because it's shaped differently. So it might have some advantages moving those kids through the splash pad. So again, you can see that it's similar in features, it's similar in basically everything that we have just seen. It's just a different shape, for lack of a better. So those are our really 2 options. We've looked at several. We like the idea that there's interchangeable features on this. I tend to like the kidney bean shape because I like the idea of kids being able to run a little bit farther, especially given that we'll have a larger area on the outside. It'll feel a lot larger, and given some of the elevation that we have at that park, this shape might suit well with the site. So that said, we actually have these 2. We would love for some feedback from you. We would like to get your kind of direction on which one you like, only because once you say the word go, we will be ready to advertise and keep on our deadline and keep moving forward with this project. Any questions, any feedback for me?
Like them both.
Yeah, they're both good.
Who likes
great
number
designs.
1? Who likes number 2?
Oh, good, okay. All right. So number two is
Yeah,
it.
1 and 2.
Oh, okay.
I didn't have
okay.
a preference.
Okay. All right, well, very good. If we're good with that, then I'll take that as a movement. We will start that and get that out there, and we will get going. So we're really excited. Thank you. That's
You
fantastic.
said that would work better with that terrain?
Yes, sir, because the topography falls in that park, by having it run more with the current elevation, number 2 is going to work a little better.
Yep. All right. So real quick, I'll just give you an update on the other side of the park. We're busy with Northeast Creek. We have lots of things we are going to be working on, but really what we want to do next is focus on our long-term planning for what we call the ball field side, which is our master plan. So we want to get the feedback from obviously you and our patrons, but we have lots of land out there. You're all aware of the lagoons that we've had filled in, where we have lots of nice amenities, adult ball fields. It has disc golf. We have the boat ramp down there, lots and lots of opportunity there. So we need to just put a master plan and start getting those ideas together. So far, we have asked our rec advisory committee for their feedback, and they're sending that to us. We would like to, just let you know that we're in that process. So obviously, you feel free to let us know, either Dr. Woodruff or however you want to do that. But we are moving forward with just, again, gathering that data, gathering that feedback. So at some point, the management team and we can put it down on paper and see what a master plan might look out there. So we are working on that, and then we're also taking into account, Mr. Massey is very good to remind us about the opportunities of when we partner up with the MCCS and those fields at TT. If you aren't aware, we are doing an MOU with them. So we have some opportunity to maximize the property there and those fields. So we're taking that into account when we go to a master plan for what we call the ball field side. So we'll use all of that when we go to get to that point. So that said, I wanted to just give you an update as well, since we're talking about the ball field side. As you'll recall, in 2012, we did put in the boat ramp and the new access there for the boaters. Under the CAMA major permit, we are going to go ahead and move forward with the rest of that project. It's been allocated, and that is the rest of the bulkhead. It is in need of getting done, and we are excited that construction will be occurring here in the next 6 months or 5 months. And so, yeah, hopefully that project will go smoothly, and we'll have all of that will be done by the end of Christmas. So, any questions? I try not to talk too quick, but.
What was the MOU with the base you're talking about?
So they have those ball fields, those youth ball fields at TT2. TT1, I apologize.
Corbin. Yeah,
At Corbin, so across the street from
Right.
Corbin, which
Okay.
is really right down the road from Northeast Creek. And we've entered into an agreement so that we can officially partner with them on some programs. We already partner with them for a youth flag football that we offer, but this is going to allow us a little bit more opportunity to utilize those fields. They've moved the gate, so access is going to be a little bit easier, and we're working on the vetting system so that our patrons, our citizens, don't have to go through the main gate. They can go straight to those fields, which is going to be a tremendous movement on that effort. It'll be fantastic.
Ron and Susan are really to be commended for the leadership and the effort they've put in that. I believe there are 4 lighted fields and a 5th that's unlit. I may be wrong on the actual number of lit fields, but you're talking an investment there of probably $3 million. And if we can work this out where our youth leagues can start using them without worrying about getting through the base passes, then you're looking at a substantial savings to the city. In exchange for that, we may see some increases in the operating budget because obviously there has to be a quid pro quo. And most likely that would be the maintenance of the fields. But we're working through that at this point. And what the success of TT, that will have a major impact upon what we do with Northeast Creek and some of our other parks. Because if you're able to add 5 fields without having to pay for them, it suddenly changes the dynamics of how our program's going to work. But good job. Any questions on this? Because we do have a little tight on time, but we do need to talk real quickly about murals. So if you don't mind.
Thank you, appreciate it.
2 weeks ago, we had planned on having on the city council agenda a discussion regarding 2 murals. And I want to give you a quick overview. If you will recall, the city council adopted standards that any individual could use as long as they were in the overlay district. The overlay district is limited to downtown. If you want to put a mural on a building downtown, it has to be on the side of the building. You'll recall that. And only 1 mural per wall. There can be no animation. And the installation standards were reviewed by y'all. This is a copy of it. Be happy to pass this around. But it talked about the painting, the maintenance, all those type things. It also said that the mural had to meet one of these themes. It either had to show something about Jacksonville's history, the military history, or local cultural diversity. And it can be related to the location. So, for example, the bicycle gallery down the street, they could put in something about Jacksonville history, military history, and it could show a bicycle in it if it wanted to. Now, they have not applied for a permit for doing that. Also, you'll recall that the city received a grant from the state Department of Commerce to help with downtown revitalization. You allocated that grant for a whole series of things, and you set aside $10,000 for murals. It's a matching grant. The maximum grant you can get is $2,500. So, one of the caveats, though, that is different between the overlay district and the grant program, the overlay district is an administrative permit. The grant program has to be approved by you. Here's where we are. On the Art Council building across the street, this is the mural that they would like to place. You will see that it has, in the middle, history. You will see it has cultural diversity. It has military. This is the mural that they're asking approval for. There has been, in fairness, Mr. Lazaro, who's not here tonight, told me that he had changed his mind and that he was not comfortable with moving forward with murals, at this time. What I'm asking tonight, because the Arts Council has been ready to get started, is number one, either approve the first mural, number two, direct the staff to redirect all the grant funds to something else, such as sidewalks or whatever else is eligible. Number three, direct staff to void the overlay district and take the necessary steps to eliminate that. Now, I recognize that we are short on time. I have no problem asking you to think about this for 2 more weeks. I have no problem with you acting on this tonight. But there comes a point, 4 more weeks, because September the 5th, we will not have a meeting. But the staff really, we work for y'all, and we need to have some direction from y'all on what do you want to do on the mural program. And specifically, are you ready to have the first mural put downtown?
I got a couple of questions real quick here. First off, this one with the Art Council, is this the first one on the grant program?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So we have, as a council, we do have some control over the content in
That's
that
correct.
respect. However, on the overlay, we don't, correct?
Correct.
We can't control content. So if somebody wanted to
Well,
put something that
You
was,
control the
guidelines do
content.
The theme.
Yeah, the themes that fit those 4 categories.
There you go.
You do have the ability to control the theme, but how they display the theme, you do not have the ability to control. Now, on this one, you can say, for example, I'd rather have a saxophone player instead of a trombone player. Almost call that a trumpet, sorry about that. You could
I
say
think
that.
that's Mr. Lazaro's concern too, and I've actually discussed this with him also, the content, the way it's displayed could be problematic if you don't have some form of control in that. With the grant program, we can.
Correct.
Now, the mural, okay, does this have to be, strike that, forget that. I mean, I don't have a problem with the murals in general. I personally don't have a problem with it. As long as we don't let them deteriorate and that sort of thing, as long as they can be kept up, I can see where it would add to the artistic essence of downtown. But my big thing is I would hate for us not to be able to control something that may be obscene or, you understand what I'm saying?
I understand exactly what you're saying.
And this one, I don't know if it's kind of confused me too, because I thought of a mural, I don't know if it's just what I've seen in different places. These almost look like photographs. I mean, they definitely look like, the 2 on the ends are just like a reproduction of a photograph as opposed to a.
Would
know,
those be
but
like
I-
art renditions of the photographs? Is that-
I think in fairness,
Yeah,
what they were trying to do was give you, the process requires the applicant to show the concept.
Oh,
Now,
okay.
what they did do was to take pictures and put them there.
Oh,
These
okay.
would actually be painted on the wall. So these are not, I mean, this isn't, they're gonna,
No, it's just,
Yeah.
not
Refresh
exact.
my recollection on, how much control would we be able to exercise as far as making sure these are maintained properly?
there is a requirement in the code that says that they have to have a maintenance program. Maintenance. A mural maintenance plan must be submitted at the time of application. Now, it doesn't matter whether it's a permit application or a grant application. A plan must be specific as to the schedules and actions needed to ensure the mural remains in good condition and that at no time the mural surface and components become degraded. Maintenance of all murals is required every 5 years. Should 20% or more of the total surface area become deteriorated as to color, flaking, sealing, weathering, or texture, the mural must be either totally restored or removed. And the code enforcement officer is to enforce
Okay.
this.
That's fine.
What's the pleasure of the council on this?
Well, you know,
issue?
I think something like this is a lot better than looking at a plain brick wall. I'm not sure I'd like the idea of government having to approve these, but I understand the grant requirements and to make sure that whose ever idea of obscenity doesn't carry the day, that it's somewhat artistic and done in good taste.
You just can only hope for that.
Well, we have the standard of doing it. You know, if you're a businessman, I don't think you're gonna commission something that's gonna drive away customers either from your business.
Unless you're like a head shop or something.
Is this a specific request for the first grant?
Yes, sir. This is a specific request by the Arts Council to approve this content to be on their wall.
You know, I'd like to see us go ahead and approve this one, and if Mayor Pro Tem has any issues, we can address for future ones. But I don't see a problem with this one. I think it's fine.
Particularly this
I think
group
I
has
think
done a
this
lot
is a
of,
good test run right here.
I do
mean,
too. I
to
think
look at it.
we need to test it and see what's gonna happen a little bit.
And it's $2,500?
Yes, sir.
And it's gonna get all that?
No,
No,
they have
that's
to
our
match
share.
it.
That's our
Oh,
share.
okay.
I mean, this may cost $7,000, $8,000, $9,000,
Yeah,
but
that's
the most we're putting in is $2,500.
I think this group's done a lot too to bring new life to downtown too.
I'd like to support the Council for Arts in this case.
I
I'd
second
make a
it.
motion that we approve this particular
Second.
mural.
Okay. Motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, anyone opposed?
We will not do the last item, it's on the workshop at this point. What we will do then is move Real ID, since it actually has to do with informing the public. We will move that to the manager's report at the end of the council meeting, if that's acceptable.
It's fine.
Thank you very
So,
much.
motion to adjourn the workshop.
So moved. Second.
Ron, you have Glenn
All in
flip
favor?
those into the back.
Okay.
How big a crowd?